What podcasts are you most enjoying right now and why? The Dollop. One comedian reads crazy stories from American history to another comedian who has no idea what the topic is going to be about. Dr. Death. It's a limited series podcast about a surgeon in Texas who completely ruined many patients' lives with his actions. It's infuriating and heartbreaking and so intriguing. Absolutely worth a listen. I'm shocked this hasn't been mentioned yet. But 99% Invisible is an amazing podcast. It takes a subject, everyday design, that could easily put someone to sleep, but packages it in a fascinating and entertaining package that makes you see the world in a new light. The Adventure Zone, a D&D podcast by three brothers and their dad. I'm all caught up with the brothers' other show, Mabembam, and I need the background noise at work, so I dove into Taz and it's fucking wild. It starts off as a kind of goofy adventure without any super serious stakes and just snowballs into this fantastic, wonderful story. I just finished the 11th hour arc of the Balance story and I can't stop listening. Dan Carlin's hardcore history will give you a much more appreciative view of history. It's simply amazing. Critical Role because so far it's been dramatic, funny, and extremely enjoyable. Case File. It's a true crime podcast. It goes into a lot of depth about each case, and the episodes play out almost like mystery novels. It's also not too gory, gimmicky, which I appreciate, though the theme music is creepy AF. The Last Podcast on the Left. It's podcast about supernatural, true crime, aliens, etc. The three guys who host it, Ben, Henry, and Marcus, are hilarious. It's my go-to for long car rides, flights. Hail yourself. The Donner Party one was great. I love politics and history, so slow burn has been a treat. Season 1 took you through Watergate while Season 2 is the Bill Clinton impeachment. If you haven't listened to Caliphate, you really should. It follows Rukmini Callimachi, one of the New York Times best reporters, on her investigation into ISIS. She did some remarkable work on the ground in Syria and Iraq and also tracked down a former fighter who had made their way back to Canada. Small Town Murder. Two comedians making fun of dumb criminals in inept small towns. They never make fun of the victims, they're assholes, not scumbags. And because James literally bitches about the discrepancy between listeners for Small Town Murder and the original Crime in Sports on Every Crime in Sports. Gonna give that one a plug as well. Now shut up and give me Murder. Your Mom's House is hands down the best podcast. Try it out. Glad my mommies are here for me to beat and piss on. I just started Lore by Aaron Mahnke. Some spooky folklore to get you into the fall season. Yeah, most of them are really good stories, but you'll find he gets a little heavy-handed at the end. The Monsieur _ maybe the real monster is inside ourselves _ The Lighthouse one is the best emo. I tried listening to this, but the way he talks drives me insane. He has these weird mid-phrase pauses and awkward emphases when he talks, and it make it hard to focus on the story. I got excited when the show on Amazon was announced until I realized it was an animated version of his podcast. Now I'm reading the book. Ear Hustle podcast from inside San Quentin prison. The one about sex trafficking was extremely sobering and hard to listen to. But most of the episodes I've listened to so far have been great. Hello Internet. The best two dudes talking podcast out there. What spoilers for Wheel of Time fans. They are also expanding into Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere, and may go even further outside of just fantasy books. 538's Politics Podcast. Straightforward numbers game on what the landscape looks like and the chances of upcoming races. Edit. Can I throw my On Deck podcast out there too, since I have your attention, Tims? Dear Hank and John. It's a comedy podcast about death. Hank and John Green, and sometimes special guests, answer your questions, give you dubious advice, and bring you all the week's news from both Mars and AFC Wimbledon. This podcast suggestion is brought to you by pedantic_cheesewheels forgetful brain. Pedantic_cheesewheels forgetful brain. Sneaking it into the edit after all the attention has already happened. Can't recommend Hello Internet enough. The subreddit is also a nice place for all Tims. My brother, and me. Shrimp, heaven. Now, Daniel, we can't keep doing this. Sounds familiar, but not too familiar, but not too not familiar. What's up, you cool baby? Triforce Podcast, best three guys talk crap for an hour podcast out there. The deafening silence from Lewis whenever Sips or Pyrians start talking about their kids is delicious. Also, for the love of God, stop going on so many vacations, I need my fix, damn it. The History of Rome by Mike Duncan. For lovers of classical Roman history, this pod can't be beat. He starts off a little noobish because he was working out of his garage like 10 years ago before he got huge. It is a very thorough and exciting view into ancient Roman history. Mike Duncan's Revolutions podcast is also fantastic. It's a bunch of deep dives into several important historical revolutions. It's pretty similar to History of Rome. NPR's More Perfect is really interesting. It provides a ton of insight on how all of these Supreme Court cases came to reach them, and what the impact of their verdicts was. WNYC. See? Yeah, carrot, he ha. Joe Rogan minus his MMA guests. That mofo surprised me. I had some preconceived notions about the dude, but he isn't a meathead. He's a curious guy and I love his podcasts. Some opinions he holds I don't necessarily agree with, but he brings some thought out, rather eloquent insight to the table. And it's humbling to see he admits not knowing enough about a topic to talk about it that may be brought up by one of his guests. I believe they're all authentic and uncut as well. I think Reddit is pretty divided about liking him, but I'd say he's a decent dude who's observant of society, and his podcasts are definitely worth a listen. Joe Rogan, especially his MMA guests. I have two answers. Dude Soup. The Funhouse podcast is fueled by intense journalistic intent and the burning need to be critical over entertainment subjects that require little to no scrutiny. I appreciate every second of it. My second and permanent recommendation would be Welcome to Night Vale. This podcast manages to pull on the inner thoughts of man and manipulate them to put chills where they haven't been in years. Not to mention the compelling character arcs and story within. A friendly desert community where the sun is hot, the moon is beautiful, and mysterious lights pass overhead while we all pretend to sleep. Welcome to Night Vale. I think if you said Dude Soup was from the people who brought us Talking Stockings, more people would check it out. Hello from the Magic Tavern. It's an improv comedy podcast where a guy named Arnie falls through a magic portal into a Middle-Earth-like fantasy realm. You're there. He starts a weekly interview podcast with a talking badger and a wizard. It starts fairly low stakes as just an interview podcast, but man, some crazy shit happens that I won't go into. The best part is that everything they improvise becomes canon about the world. I am Usador, wizard of the 12th realm of Ephesius, master of light and shadow, manipulator of magical delights, devourer of chaos, champion of the great halls of Tarakas. The elves know me as Fiang Yelik. The dwarves know me as Zonanan Hoog Stanges, and I am known in the northeast as Gasmiwanius Maystar. And there may be other secret names you do not know. Criminal. Great take on true crime. Phoebe Judge has a perfect podcast host voice for storytelling. The Moth, Snap Judgment, and Risk. These are by turns humorous, touching, and thought-provoking. For true crime, Case File, My Favorite Murder, and Last Podcast on the Left. Case File and Last Podcast are thoroughly researched. MFM and Last Podcast are funny. For nifty history, stuff you missed in history class. Sawbones. and hardcore history. So many factoids to feed my nerdiness. For NPR, Radiolab, More Perfect, This American Life, Death, Sex and Money, Fresh Air, and Up First, well produced, interesting, and I don't drive so never catch the radio broadcasts. For comedy, Two Dope Queens introduces me to new comics and I enjoy Phoebe and Jessica's banter. My Favorite Murder, two funny women talking about true crime, both national scale and listeners' local stories. Finally, I had to scroll down way too far to find this. Pardon my take. Nice. I'm a 3-time mole myself, not sure these other people posting can relate to that. Tiny Meat Gang podcast, it's just fucking hilarious. Isn't that Cody Co? He has a pod? Yeah, he had one before on his own called Insanely Chill, but then he realized the ones with Noelle as guest were the most popular, so he made one with Hi Monsieur. The two of them together are hilarious. Chapo Trap House Ride or Die. Had to scroll way too far down to find Chapo. I thought we were supposed to be extremely online. We're extremely on Twitter. On Reddit we're all fans of citations needed. Carrot, this guy likes being gay with his dad. Chapo is def, a love it or hate it sort of podcast. I don't know any casual listeners. I love their ability to connect smaller news stories with larger world problems. History. Matt's rant on the Rick and Morty sauce thing was so insightful, and he was talking about nerds rioting at a McDonald's about nugget sauce. Edit. Also just remember their bits like hot couch guys. Joke your Obama. Gorka. Fuck, I love this podcast. The official podcast for international man friends get together once a week and kinda just BS about recent events. Masturbation. Are their favorite movies and games. They also have guests on all the time. Notch and PewDiePie being some of the bigger names. Asterisk Boardwalk Burgers. Question mark. More like bored burgers, because the burgers aren't having any fun? Asterisk. Ain't that some shit? CUUUUM Town. It's like a regular comedy podcast but just for the fellas. Only came to this thread to see if someone posted this, lol. Hell yeah dude. Alt-right Homer Simpson is the best thing I've heard in years. If you're into murder mysteries, then S-Town is a great listen. It's an investigative journalism podcast hosted by Brian Reed that follows the incredibly smart John B. McLemore and his theory about a supposed murder in Hicktown, Alabama. It's only 7 episodes, but I was hooked after the first. I'm not a big podcast guy, but my friend talked me into listening to S-Town, and I'm glad I did. It becomes a fascinating and tragic character study of not only an extremely intelligent man, but also of small-town, severely impoverished America, and that's why we drink. It's the perfect balance of creepy, horrifying, and funny. No such thing as a fish. Funny, interesting facts from some of the researchers of Chi, a British comedy panel show with quite interesting facts for those that don't know. Every week into your ears. I listen to it on my runs and it makes them joyful and interesting. Asterisk Switched on Pop Asterisk. They dissect current songs and analyze what, in the music, lyrics, etc., makes them so good. Asterisk Malcolm Gladwell's Asterisk Revisionist History Asterisk, telling the overlooked, and more interesting side, of stories from our past, including basketball, Elvis, education, race relations, Asterisk Up and Vanished Asterisk, My True Crime Fix. And let's be real, I'm about to listen to the new season of Asterisk Serial Asterisk 2. Asterisk You Are Not So Smart Asterisk. Better than other self-improvement podcasts. Emo. NPR's Asterisk Pop Culture Happy Hour Asterisk keeps me up to date and guides what movies, Netflix shows I might watch next. Asterisk Planet Money Asterisk The Indicator Asterisk, and Asterisk Freakonomics Asterisk Money is Interesting. Asterisk Getting Curious Asterisk with Jonathan Van Ness. Great interviews on interesting topics. And JVN is fantastically entertaining. Asterisk asterisk good job, brain. Asterisk asterisk. A fun pub trivia style podcast that actually makes me laugh out loud and keeps me entertained. Backslash. For those of you in the SF Bay Area. Asterisk Bay Curious asterisk. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.